if your makeup separates, creases, disappears, or become patchy during the day, this tutorial is for you. So today I'm going to show you how to identify what is actually happening, what happens in different areas of the face, and how to fix it without automatically adding more primer or more powder. So let's begin. I'm going to talk about 4 common issues: separates, creases, disappears, and becomes patchy. Separation is when the makeup film starts breaking apart into small islands, gaps, or dots. You can still see the product, but the pigment is no longer distributed evenly across the skin. Possible causes include too many layers: skincare or sunscreen that hasn't had time to set, excess foundation, oil, sweat. Next, patchiness. Patchiness is uneven pigment distribution. Some areas have too much coverage, while others just have almost none. And these can be caused by flakes, uneven skin preparation, rubbing instead of pressing, applying foundation over a particular set layer, or maybe trying to build more coverage after the foundation has already begun forming its film. Creasing. Creasing is not simply being able to see a line. Skin has lines, and skin moves, it's normal. Creasing happens when excess product migrates and forms a visible ridge inside that line. Makeup cannot change the anatomy of the fold. The goal isn't to make every natural line disappear, right? So the goal is to prevent a thick layer of product from collecting inside it. And finally, disappearing or fading. So when makeup disappears, the product film has been removed, or maybe transferred, or maybe diluted by oil, sweat. This can happen even if you never consciously touch your face. And careful preparation doesn't necessarily mean more preparation. To complete this look, I'm also going to create a wet look hairstyle and add highlighter along the neckline. Everything will connect: fresh summer skin, soft no makeup, and completely bare lashes. No mascara makeup, such a huge trend. Now let's remove this makeup and begin again with a fresh face. My favorite micellar water for sensitive skin is the first step, always. The universal rule is that skincare comes first, but especially during a hot summer. We don't need to over-prepare the skin. Keep it simple. For me today, that means only a milky toner followed by sunscreen. That's it. Too many products can irritate the skin, create unnecessary movement between the layers, and make texture look more noticeable. However, keeping your morning routine simply doesn't mean neglecting your night skincare. Once the sunscreen has set into an even film and no longer feels wet or slippery, I apply a very thin layer of foundation to even out the surface. So I'm using pressing and dabbing motions so I don't distribute the sunscreen underneath. So this foundation stick is one of my favorites, and you have already known this. It sits somewhere between a concealer and foundation, so it has enough pigment for targeted correction, but it can still be blended into a very thin layer. And if you choose a deeper shade, you can also use it as a contour or bronzer, depending on the color and undertone. And then we simply just dab, and that's it. Look at that. Next, blush. I'm using 2 cream blush shades to create a more dimensional and believable flush. I recently visited a museum, and art always influenced the way I see color. Painters rarely use one ready-made shade, so they mix 2, 3, or even 4 colors to create depth. So let's begin with the lightest shade. I'm not placing it along the classic lifted blush line. Instead, I'm taking it directly across the apple of the cheek and bringing it slightly lower. Then I take whatever remains on the brush toward the temple, following soft triangle shape. And the temple isn't where I want the strongest color. I'm taking the more saturated pink and concentrated it directly in the center of the apple of the cheek. And this boyfriend blush placement is appearing more and more frequently in editorial and the red carpet makeup, which usually means we'll begin seeing it more often in everyday beauty as well. It creates a very fresh, sweet, and natural flush, but it won't be everyone's preferred placement. And the technique should always be adapted to your face, to the result you want. Let's move on. Now the brows. To prevent them from melting or disappearing in the heat, I am using a long-wearing brow marker. I hold the marker near the end rather than close to the tip. This naturally reduces the pressure and helps me create lighter lines that resemble real brow hairs. Then I brush through the brows and set the hairs with a gel at approximately 45-degree angle. And this creates the structure and framework for the rest of the makeup. I'm also using this long wearing makeup to create a very soft shadow around the lip contour. This is a useful technique when your lip color tends to disappear after lunch, and instead of leaving an obvious harsh ring around the mouth, the contour fades more naturally with the rest of the lip. Now let's set the makeup. To make powder less visible on the skin, I prefer finely milled pressed powders. When I pick this one up with a brush, you can see how lightly the particles disperse. And that fine milled helps the powder sit more evenly and look less detectable on the skin. However, finely milled doesn't mean that you can apply an unlimited amount. Powder doesn't create pores, but too much powder increases the contrast around them and just makes them much easier to see. And if your makeup looks cracked almost immediately, even after careful preparation, the problem may actually be too many skincare layers, too much foundation, or too much powder. Avoid adding powder to areas that are already dry or flaky. Powder should lock an already even surface. It shouldn't be used to rescue a layer of foundation that is still wet, uneven, or maybe already pulled inside the pores. And when you touch up your makeup, never apply powder directly over grease. You are simply just mixing oil and powder into a paste. And I'm using a light powder through the center of the face and slightly deeper powder around the perimeter. So this creates subtle sculpture contrast. If your eyeshadow creases even when you use a little long-wearing concealer or just a tiny bit eye primer, you need to lightly powder the eyelid before applying your eyeshadows. This powder will help absorb some of the sebum naturally produced by the skin, and that oil production is completely normal. I am also taking the slightly deeper face powder into the outer corner of the eyes, and this creates soft depth and gives the eyelids a little more structure without introducing another product. Now, let's create the eye makeup without mascara. Berry lashes, sometimes called ghost lashes. They are becoming increasingly visible in fashion and red carpet makeup. I love the way they make a finished look feel modern, effortless, and actually I love this trend. We can just skip this problem with transparent mascara, or actually it's easy to remove the makeup at the end of the day. Let's move on. I'm using a white pearlescent highlighter as the first accent. With a bronze shade, I create depth in the outer corner and extend it softly toward the temple. I also add a small amount of bronze through the inner socket, while just keeping the very inner corner bright. Then I stop and check the makeup in the big mirror. And the shape is already beginning to come together, but I want more contrast here. So I intensify the white highlighter in the inner corner. I also take the bronze shade along the lower lash line, and this gives the eyes definition while keeping them bright and soft than they would look with a black pencil. And finally, I use a very light gold shade as the transition between the white and the bronze. And this connects the two colors and creates a smoother, more polished gradient. To finish the skin, I add shine only to the most prominent part of the cheekbone, to the highest points of the cheekbone. I'm using a small brush so I can place the golden highlighter precisely where I want it. And then I carefully blend, polish, and refine the edges until the shine appears to be part of the skin rather than the strip sitting on top of it. And I repeat a small amount of the golden light along the collarbone and neckline. Together with the wet look hair, fresh skin, and bare lashes, it ties the entire summer look together. I like it, and that's it. A fresh makeup, actually, it's perfect for hot summer. Now, tell me not only what happens to your makeup, but exactly where it happens and how many hours after application you first notice it. That information tells us much more about the real causes of the problem. And if this tutorial helped you understand not only what to do, but why the technique works, subscribe to my channel. I share professional makeup techniques that you can adapt to your own makeup, to your own skin, and actually features in real life. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much to being there and have a great weekend. Bye.